We got to keep this going because I got a really great conversation that is about to happen next. Because mental intelligence is important, as we all know, but what about emotional intelligence? Physical intelligence? Spiritual intelligence? All those different dimensions, social intelligence. What about generational intelligence? Learning from different generations, bridging the gaps, those things like that. And the big idea with that is the more that you can tap into the different dimensions of your intelligence, I'm willing to bet that the more likely you are to experience the highest version of who you are meant to be. And so we got my man, Joe Clair. He's going to be taking us through this conversation. We got a really hot panel that's coming your way. Joe, take it away, brother.
Thank you, thank you. Hey, everybody. Oh, no, this is a HBCU. Y'all got to clap way better than that. Hey, everybody. Y'all still acting bougie. Hey, everybody. I remember the old Bowie State. Don't be acting new because we're in this new building. We have an incredible panel for y'all, and I like this smart intelligence panel. As a comedian, I've had to prove my intelligence again and again and again. People think this silliness is just silliness. No, it's a lot of thought, intelligence, emotional maturity that comes along with being comical. I have spiritual maturity. It comes along with my comedy. I have physical maturity. I know I'm getting older and slower. I have that. So we're going to talk about it today. We have an incredible panel. Are you guys ready for an incredible panel today? I don't know. That doesn't sound like that bulldog spirit. I don't hear it. Are y'all ready for a good panel today? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I need to hear. In case they didn't tell y'all, I am from Seat Pleasant, Maryland. Right, Maryland. So act accordingly. So today, here's our panel. First up, he is a retired Olympic gold medalist and one of the most decorated sprinters in track and field history. I want y'all to clap it up for Justin Gatlin, everybody. Justin Gatlin, 5-time Olympic medalist and 12-time world champion medalist. Come on, clap it up for him. Clap it up for him, right? That's him right there. Next up is a results-driven executive with over 30 years of experience in strategic engagement, business development, and leadership, including 17 and a half years with the NBA and the NBA Players Association. Please put your hands together for Chrysa Chin. Chrysa Chin. We're supposed to have some like intro music. The DJ's supposed to reckon in. Anyway. Next up is a 3-time WNBA champion, 6th player of the year and 14-year pro, known for the versatility, leadership, and grit. Most recently with the Washington Mystics, she also made her mark internationally. Off the court, she is a passionate advocate for social justice, LGBTQ plus rights, and youth empowerment. Give it up for Alysha Clark. Alysha Clark, everybody. That's right, DJ, play something when the people come out. Let Google know we know what we're doing over here. Next up is a former NFL fullback, philanthropist, and speaker whose 17-year career includes stints with the Cowboys, Chiefs, Vikings, and Jets. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler and renowned lead blocker. Give it up for Tony Richardson, everyone. Clap for Tony Richardson. Yes, indeed. And last but not least, he is a consultant for the National Football League with over 33 years of experience in professional athletics, spanning his time as a player, league executive, and advisor. Everyone, please clap it up for Ed Reynolds. This is a dynamic panel, everyone. I'm going to take my seat. So this is all about smart intelligence, guys. We're here to talk about the other forms of intelligence that we've seen throughout the years or that we may, exemplify throughout the years. Now that I've done all the introductions, we have a quick question for you. In 15 seconds or less. Now this is 15 seconds or less, and we'll start down the end with you, Ed, and we'll work back this way. 15 seconds or less. What does being smart mean to you?
Google search.
Well, that's a great, it's not the information, but how to find it, right?
You go to Google search, it tells you that smart is an adjective and a verb. So keeping it simple, and in all honesty, smart represents a large ram of things, from your intelligence, from everything we're getting ready to cover on this panel as a whole. And you take all the 5 intelligent topics that Joe talked about, and all of them equate to being smart.
Yeah, I would kind of encompass the same thing. I think when you think about being smart, you know, you think about obviously just in the mind, but I think it's the total. So if you had a body, you would talk about all areas of the body, which is the spiritual, emotional, physical. I think everything together is what comes in smart.
Yeah, for me, I just think being smart is having the ability to learn something, understand its concept and you know, what it means, and then just having the awareness to apply it in whatever situation is necessary and where it's needed.
I think it's similar to what everybody else said. I think it's also, though, having the ability to listen and know how to resource things, where to find information.
I think it's being smart is basically having the ability to be successful, but it's how you apply your smartness as well. We know a lot of people who are very smart who don't apply it and they don't become successful.
True indeed. True indeed. Come on, clap it up. I like that. Because I was never book smart, but I was common sense smart. Yeah, I was about to go to jail, and I was like, that's not a good thing to do. I was smart enough to not go to prison. They want me to give you guys some brief definitions, and then we're going to talk about it. Mental intelligence is IQ, that's problem solving, logic, memory, memory. Emotional intelligence, recognizing, managing, and expressing emotions, understanding others' emotions. Social intelligence, reading people and social cues, communicating effectively. Physical intelligence, understanding and managing your body's signals, health, and energy. Spiritual intelligence, awareness of higher purpose, values, and meaning. And generational intelligence, learning across age gaps, valuing wisdom from different generations. And I need the people from my generation to tune into that one specifically, because there's a lot we can learn from a younger generation. Which three intelligence have been most critical in your personal or professional growth? And we'll start right here.
I think I have a career that spanned over 20 years, so I've able to use all those intelligence to be successful. But I think the 3 for me would be the physical, the intellectual of it, and then like the mental, but then also the emotional aspect of things. So those are my 3 that I needed to be able to be the athlete I was, but then to be able to be a legend in my sport, I needed all of them.
Chrysa.
So I think for me, I think spiritual intelligence is just sort of the foundation, so I'm not going to include that. But I would say mental intelligence, emotional intelligence, and social intelligence, because my first job is being a mom, right? And I need all of that for that job, because that's a big one. My son's 30. But I think also from my work and my work with players, I think it's really, really important for me to have all of those things. I have to be able to read the body. I have to be able to problem solve, and I have to be able to be tuned in and really understand how to manage my emotions when I'm working with our guys.
Anybody else want to take this one? The three.
Yeah, I would kind of echo what Justin said. I think you kind of look at, and I think you, all of them kind of affect your career, but I think for me it's spiritual. I was one of the few athletes when I was currently playing that was a celibate athlete, because I realized that a lot of my power was in controlling myself and being able to be under control. Definitely from the spiritual aspect, and then from the social aspect of just understanding how important it is to give back and to be able to relate. My dad was in the military, so I was born in Germany, so I didn't know that I was black until I came into an all-white town in Alabama, and they were like, who's this kid listening to AC/DC Metallica speaking German? So, you know, you just kind of realize, like, if you live in a world like in Germany, you don't really understand, like, how the world is viewed until you come to the South and you're starting to get judged for the color of your skin. And definitely the physical. I think all of us as athletes, and you have that physical component, but I think that helped me a lot because I'm actually a certified yoga instructor, and I think that the mindfulness and just understanding how to control my emotions and things like that have really helped me in my life.
So if I heard this correct, first please clap it up. I want to make sure that I heard it correctly. You said you were a celibate.
Celibate, abstinence from sex.
Yeah. Athlete.
Not
Y'all
9 years.
listen, don't laugh at me. I ain't never heard of that.
What you mean you never heard of that? Come on, man.
Listen, let's not even play games in front of this audience today.
Okay.
I never heard anyone proclaim as themselves as a celibate athlete.
Yeah.
I think that's admirable, and I'm glad that you said it in front of this audience. Specifically, I think that the reason it stuck out because it kind of, you glossed over it a little.
Yeah.
And I'd rather you not, because that is, for young men, that's quite an undertaking.
Well, my dad is a deacon in the church, and I think as a man, it shouldn't be anything that I shouldn't have to say like, oh, I'm sexually active or I'm not sexually active. Whatever you do with your body is your choice. But in the same sense, it was just like that was a decision I made for myself. And it wasn't even something that I wanted to, when I was with the Kansas City Chiefs, they wanted to talk about it because I wasn't dating and I wasn't doing all those different things. And so they wanted to highlight it, and I didn't necessarily want to highlight it, but I also realized the amount of people that I could help. Being I was in the height of my career, and I don't think I would have played 17 years had I not really sustained and really just made sure I was focused on the right things.
Come on, y'all, you got to give it up for that. You got to give it up for that. I was celibate. It wasn't by choice, but God saw fit to put that in my life. Hey, Ed, how do you use body language or reading the room to navigate relationships or leadership?
Well, I think it's very important when you come into a room to read the room. And reading the room is seeing how people stand, or watching how people look at you, or how if a certain person, individual is approachable, and how you make yourself approachable. I think it's very important to have that, to learn and develop that skill set, because it helps you to deal with any situation you may walk into. Some of us have gone to certain places and we know we're not going to stay here very long. You've read the room. Or you come saying it's very welcoming and you understand where your place is. So reading the room is a skill set that you should definitely learn, especially as young as you are, as students in college.
I'm glad you're speaking to that part. A lot of us, even some of us on the stage, we didn't read rooms. We have failed in that regard when we were young, and now we have to master that skill. There was plenty of times I came in running my mouth and got kicked right out. Let's go back to you. I want to talk about that sense of higher purpose. How do you connect with a sense of higher purpose, especially in the challenging moments? We know that we can all be namaste and hold everybody's hands when things are going good, but when the levee breaks and it's time for real leadership and it's time for a calm head and calm minds, how do you pull that? How do you stay connected in those times?
I think it's about understanding your purpose, right? I mean, if we're talking about at work, I know what I'm there to do, and working in sport, especially in basketball, professional sports, there are challenges every day. You have them no matter which way you turn, so you have to remain balanced and level. I always understand what the mission is and what my job is, so I never waver, and I'm consistent. I have a reputation for consistency, so the way that I react, the way that I respond is what resonates with everyone, because they know I'm always gonna be calm. I know who I am as a person, I know who I am as a woman, I know who I am as a mother, so I always think about that too, is like, how am I going to represent? I could get emotional, but being emotional about anything is not really gonna be helpful. So I have to be the level leader in the room. So I have to make sure that I'm looking at all the facts, I'm reading the room, I'm understanding, I'm hearing, I'm listening, and I'm not reacting emotionally. And for me, we talked a little bit about spiritual intelligence. I'm a Buddhist. I've been a Buddhist for over 40 years. And so that, you said namaste, so I wasn't gonna bring it up until you brought it up, but that keeps me grounded, because I understand why things are happening from my religious perspective.
You see how the universe works? I namaste and came straight to you. Well, I'm telling you. Alysha, would you like to tackle the same question?
Yeah, so understanding who you are, I think, is the biggest hurdle as athletes that we have to understand. And so for me personally, knowing who I am in God's eyes and knowing that my purpose is bigger than basketball, right? Like knowing that regardless of what I do on the basketball court, if I score 30 or if I play 5 minutes or if I win championships or if I don't, I'm still the same in his eyes. And so as you go, because sports is so up and down, there's so many challenges, everybody has an opinion, everybody can do better sitting from home. And it's how can you weather all of that and remain consistent, and that's the same thing for me. The reason I've been able to sustain as long as I have is because I'm a consistent leader and I'm a consistent player. And when you can do those things, it's because you have a foundation of who you are and what your value is. Absolutely. And for me, I think that's been the biggest part is understanding your value outside of the tangible things. Okay, yeah, I don't have the most rebounds, I'm not an all-star, all these things, but I can guarantee you every team is calling because they know my value and I walk in my value and my purpose every day.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah, I was gonna touch on that. I think Alysha made a great point because Ed and I actually work together and we mentor young athletes. And I think when we were playing, there was no social media. So now we try to tell these young guys, like, you know, because people are in your DMs and they're telling you if you fumble the ball, they're calling you different things and talking about you and understanding, and then they start getting in their head just because of all these people attacking them, and they think that they don't know their worth. So I think what you were saying is so prevalent, and especially for our young crowd today, because I think, to me, I know we're here at a Google conference, but I definitely just understand that technology, especially in that social media world, is something you have to be able to control, especially as an athlete, because everyone has access to you. And like you said, you can go out and score 30, and the next game you can score 2, and then you're the same person, but then all of a sudden they said you've fallen off. And so I think that's a great point you brought up.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I want everybody on the panel to answer this next one, and let's keep it brief, but I need to hear from you. And it says, what have you learned from someone in a different generation that has shaped your thinking? And since we're on a college campus and we're older than most of the young people here, speak on it, please. If someone older gave you something that you can have, or if you've ever learned something from a younger person.
Well, I would say,
please,
for me, one of the most important athletes and individuals, human beings in my life would be Muhammad Ali. And because of the stance he took and the position he took and how he took it and why he took it and what he sacrificed, but yet he came back and all that he had given up, the 3 best years of his boxing career on principle. And he came back and still won the championship 3 or 4 times. And to the day of his death, he never wavered from that position he took. And to me, that's resilience, that's purpose, that's spirituality, that's everything that you would love to witness in anybody.
Yeah, I think for me, I kind of think back to when I was playing for the Chiefs and I had Coach Dick Vermeil, and he actually came and spoke when I was finishing up my MBA. He came and spoke to our leadership panel. And one thing that really stuck out, he said that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I think in all areas of life, like, it's one thing to be a great leader, but if you don't really show that you generally, because Coach Vermeil was known for always hugging his players, always telling his players he loved them, getting emotional and things like that. And I think that's really stuck out in my life of, like, and first of all, I never want to be the smartest person in the room, but number 2, just letting people know that you generally care about them. And if you do that, I think you can build a better union with your family. You could build a better union with your wife or your spouse or whoever that might be. And if you're a leader in the business world, if your employees know you care about them and you love them and you really have their best interests, I think that you build a better workforce.
Something a coach told me back, it was you either find a way to get something done or you find an excuse not to. And so for me, as I've gone through everything, sports and whether it's the classroom, I'm either gonna find a way to get this project done or I'm gonna find an excuse why I can't do it or why I don't have the time to do those things.
I think for me, it was 2 things I got from my grandmother. One was about respect. Always give respect to get respect, and it doesn't matter who you're dealing with. And I thought, as a young person, it's funny because she told me that when I was really, really young, and it was because of a certain situation, but she said that was always really important, and I carried that through my life. But I think the other thing that she taught me was no matter what you're doing, you always put 100% effort in, so don't half-step at nothing. That was whether you were doing your chores or whether you're doing your work or whatever it was. And that has led me throughout my life, throughout my work, and I think it's added to my consistency, but it also was something that I was able to impart to my son, and my son has an incredible work ethic.
I got two advices. One from Michael Johnson, which was master your habits. We all have habits. We have good habits, we have bad habits. And we always have a goal that we want to reach. And sometimes we fall short of our goals, not because of anything around us, but because of our own habits. We want to be able to hold on to something that got us to that point, but is that going to get you to the next point? Realize that in yourself. And another one was by way of Jesse Owens, his family. It was actually one of his siblings, and she said, learn to evolve. As athletes, we think that we're good enough to get to the WNBA, but are you good enough to stay in the WNBA? Are you good enough to stay in the NFL? Are you good enough to stay in track and field? Learn to be able to evolve and open the doors in your mind and your heart to be able to get to that next level and be comfortable with that. Because a lot of us athletes, we feel like we're superstitious or we're traditional and this is what got me here and I gotta stay this way. And usually the way you stay is the way, when you came in, is the same way you're gonna go out, and that's what takes you out the game. So learn to evolve and be a better athlete, be a better human being, and you'll see that doors open up that you couldn't even imagine.
I'd like to give my little 2 cents on something I've learned from a different generation. I heard it from an older generation, but I'm watching it manifest with the younger people, and it's that change is constant. Yes. There will always be something new showing up. There will always be a new perspective that comes on. Or somebody will take the old perspective and remix it. And you may be real uncomfortable with it and it might not feel right, and but it's going to happen. And the quicker that, the better you are at adapting to these changes, the better your life becomes. It becomes a little easier for you to move and shake. I don't know if they told you guys, I used to host Rap City on BET, and I thought that the hip hop that I knew was the only hip hop that was gonna be the hip hop. But slow down, because then Lil Wayne started outselling Jay-Z, and I was like, that's not supposed to happen. And then Drake started outselling everybody. I was like, no, that's not supposed to happen. But it's what it is. And so now I listen to Drake records. You used to call me on my... Anyway. Can anyone panelist, or two if you can, demonstrate, and I'm reading this straight off of the paper, demonstrate or describe how they physically respond to stress or refocus their energy? Does anybody here have breath work, posture work, a quick reset routine? One of you athletes, you have one?
Yeah.
Please.
Well,
Chris.
You want me to get up?
Yes, please. Come on, this is interactive, Chris.
I'm a footer, y'all, but a 5-footer. So usually what I do if I feel too much stress, there's breath work that you can do. It's the 4x4x4 method. Yeah. So you inhale, count of 4 like this. You hold it for 4, and then you exhale for 4. And that will often reset your body and reset your system. So for me, that's been really helpful. Also, visualization is something that I find really helpful when I'm stressed. So I can automatically tune something out and visualize it differently so that I can just shift my mindset.
So if y'all are ever in Chrysa's office and you hear her go, you know you done said the wrong thing. Anyone else?
Yeah, similar to the breath work, and oddly enough, it happened this morning, so I had it in practice. But anytime I feel very stressed or overwhelmed, the box breathing, but then I also say out loud the facts that I know to counteract the stress that I'm feeling. And so, for instance, this morning I had a situation with a family member, and things went awry, and I literally started to breathe, and I was like, this is not about you. This is about their insecurities. You've done nothing wrong. And it immediately resets. Amen. And then I can walk away and I'm like, all right, now I don't have to go sideways on anybody this morning.
But you guys see how simple it is? It's as easy as breathing. You control your breath. They don't have any control. No, that's you. So I'm keeping that one. I'm a black husband. I need... some coping mechanisms. We're going to move on to applying intelligence. So that first part was all about the different types of intelligence. This is more about applying the intelligence, and the objective is to provide practical strategies for attendees to build intelligence in daily life. So these things are things that you can practically use all the time, just like this breathing technique and the other coping techniques. That this is something that you can have at your fingertips. Let's start with you. Justin, let's start with you. How do you prepare your body to perform physically and mentally?
I mean, it's really no secret in track and field. We all do the same thing: A skips, B skips, high knees, stretch, warm up, but I think...
I ain't hear.
You haven't did that?
Do what?
A skips, B skips, stretch, high knees. You never did that before? Oh, you
think you
pulled a
should
lot
do
of
some-
hamstrings, didn't you? You put a lot of hamstrings into your life. Okay.
Joe, I think you should do some A and B skips across the stage for everybody.
Who should? Me? No.
You got to demonstrate.
They don't have,
You got to
they don't-
demonstrate.
Bowie State doesn't have that much insurance. but show us how to, come on, give us,
You want A skips and B skips?
yeah, man, come on. You said you do it all the time.
From an Olympic, here we go.
Right?
Oh, yeah, there you go. Look at that form.
Yeah.
B skip. And you already know what the high knees look like, right? You gotta do that. You gotta do that, right?
Yeah, no, I said I don't.
All right.
No, I can't do none of that. And look, the ladies are clapping. They like that. Do it again.
Y'all keep your dollars. Keep your dollars.
Trying to be supportive.
But I would say also the factor of is the visualization of it. As an athlete, we are taught to be physical all the time. And I understand that from coaches, you only have a limited amount of time with your athletes, so you got to get them physically ready. But visualization and mental work is an important thing in our game, because you got to have contingency plans, you got to have variables. You got to understand how things are going to work. If I'm at the start line at the Olympic finals, I'm walking down that track all the way to the finish line. And as I'm walking, I'm laying out how that race is going to unfold. And as I know how it unfolds, that means I know how all my opponents are going to run that race, because I know their habits. And I understand the contingency plan and say, all right, what if this guy has a better start? Then I know I need what I need to do towards the end of that race, the middle of the race, and the beginning of the race. So when I get back to that start line, and as I walk back down the track, the last thing they see is me. So I'm on their mind. And when I get in the blocks, gun goes off, boom. All my variables and all my visualization comes into play. I get 9 seconds. I don't get 4 quarters. I don't get 2 halves. I get 9 seconds to prove to the world who I am. So I got to be on point.
Y'all hear that? Y'all hear that?
Hey, and I'll affirm that 100%, because I was fortunate enough in college to have a professor that taught us about visualization. And he had us sit in the classroom just like this, and we all had to practice it. And he said, we started off first visualizing just getting yourself dressed the next day. Then he wanted you to practice running. And then when I got to the professionals in the NFL, I took it to the next level. And again, just like you said, Justin, we had a team psychiatrist, and he said you have to play the game before the game is played. And so I used to play the game in my mind, and was surprised how my career stayed like this and didn't plateau, and I ended up playing 11 years. So visualization is essential, but it's something you can use in your everyday tools as far as getting dressed, getting your homework done, getting your papers done. Is something to use on a daily basis, not just on a situation of athletics.
Got you. Can anyone else on the panel speak along those lines about daily or weekly practices that you may have? Is there a day that you prep for the rest of the week? Or is it a day that you make sure you take care of all your receipts and your, Tony, you go first.
Yeah, mine is actually is yoga. And I think I started taking yoga, and I started with Bikram yoga in 1997. And it really just taught me, because life, I think, sometimes gets so busy. And yoga teaches you to, when things kind of get array in your life or things kind of get chaotic, where you can just take a deep breath and breathe. And it also gives you an opportunity, because when I'm in yoga, because I try to do yoga every day, and if I don't have the time to do the 90, if I do a 60-minute vinyasa class, that's the 60 minutes that I have for myself that I could be selfish. Because it's just me in the mirror, and it's me. I'm not really looking at anyone else in the class, but that's an opportunity where I could take time for myself, get myself back grounded, and I feel myself if I get a lot of things going and I don't get a chance to do yoga a few times a week, it feels like things in my life are out of order. But even when I was, playing running back, and the yoga taught me, because obviously I didn't have 9 seconds, and I definitely can't run nowhere as near as fast. But in the huddle, like we got, plays are every 2 to 3 seconds, but you have to breathe. And if you think about the last play and you're like hyperventilating, you're getting too hype, you can't even focus on the next play. And so sometimes you just have to, even in life, just take that step back, breathe, and then approach the situation. So that helps me in my daily life.
Love it, that yoga.
Yeah.
Namaste.
I'm very organized, and I'm a very factual and visual person. So I need to see things in order for me to know that I need to do them. So I'm a heavy to-do list person. And for a practice that I started probably like 5-6 years ago now, with our phones being at our hands, you wake up and you go straight to your phone, you're answering texts, emails, all the things. So what I started to do was I didn't touch my phone until after I had my cup of coffee to be able to sit down and have that moment for myself. And then during that time, I can write out the things that I need to get done. I mean, everything from like, put a new privacy screen on my phone, like it's on my to-do list. And then as I go throughout my day, throughout the week, I can go back to it and it brings me back, okay, you got this done. Okay, you got this done. But in the practice in the morning, it allows me to just to kind of think for myself, be present for myself before I'm present for everybody else, because you're being pulled in a million different ways, from kids, coworkers, your job, your class, your project, whatever it is. And it just gives you that little moment, because for me, it's all about consistency in these habits. Can you take those 5 minutes every single morning for yourself to do these things? And you start small, and once you do that, then you can start to build bigger practices. But it's always, for me, starting small, and that is leaving my phone alone till after I've enjoyed my cup of coffee and getting my to-do list done for that day or for the next couple of days.
Do you find that that declutters your mind as well?
Yeah, 100%. Because, I mean, think about it. You wake up and you're just hit with all of these different obligations or asks of you, and you don't even have time to think like, how am I feeling this morning? Yeah. And so when you can think for yourself, it declutters everything. And for me, I feel like it streamlines my vision.
Real talk. I want to just add to that. A pen and paper has become the most important thing in my life. I have all the computers, I had the watch, I had the phone, and all of it was extra clutter. When I got a pen and paper and started writing down, okay, I just need to get 3 things done today, and I would write them down, keep that piece of paper in my pocket. And it'd be 5 o'clock, and I hadn't done any of it because I was in my phone scrolling. I love Instagram. It's the devil. Okay, well, I love Instagram. But at 5 o'clock, I'm looking back at my paper. Oh, I had 3 things I was supposed to get done today, and by 7, I've knocked out the 3 things. Now, I could have done them earlier that day, but if I didn't have that piece of paper, they wouldn't have gotten done at all. Remember, a pen and paper is one of the best pieces of technology mankind ever came up with. All forms of intelligence require consistent practice. Intelligence is grown through reflection and not just action. And a growth mindset and balance across domains lead to holistic leadership. Can anybody please up here talk about growth mindset for a moment? And how growth mindset, specifically, since we're on the campus of an HBCU, I am a product of an HBCU, the importance of growth mindset. Bigger, better mindset. Who wants to go first? Ed, you want to go first because you smile?
I'll let right here the expert.
Come on.
So, I don't know, when I think about growth mindset, I'm always trying to get better and be better, right? And so that's every day. And in terms of leadership and leading my staff, the same thing. I try to look at them and our players, more importantly, I think, in this example, holistically, how do you deliver somebody to the court so they can be their best self? At work, how do you deliver the best person for the project? What kind of training are you offering? What kind of support are you giving them? So it goes back to some of the intelligences that we talked about earlier, but I'm always reading people's body languages, what they're saying, what they're doing, what their expressions are like. You know, I'm trying to get emotional cues. You can tell by the way people are responding. So I always am trying to encourage people to develop, always inspiring them, and always celebrating the small wins. So I think for me, you know, when I think about growth mindset, everybody's in a different place, and you have to meet people where they are. Absolutely. And when you lead people, especially whether it's athletes or whether it's staff members, you have to meet those people where they are to bring them forward so that you can get the best out of them.
Everything she said is right on point, and for me, and also being a military officer in my past, is you also lead by example. Is if you're going to come in and get your people ready for physical fitness, you can't say, I want you to do this and you don't do this. Mm-hmm. If I'm coming in, I'm going to score 300 back in my day when the tests were, you score 300, then that's the number one score, and you challenge your people to meet you at 300. If I'm gonna go to the range and I'm gonna shoot expert, I want my people to shoot expert. But if they don't meet those standards, that's not a failure. That's giving them the opportunity to say, you know what, this is what you gotta do better to get to that expert, to get to that number one 300 achievement. And we support you, I support you in what you're trying to accomplish, but I'm also show you how to accomplish it.
Love it, love it, love it. All right, this question right here is for everybody but Tony, because you've told us how you do this one. Yeah, that yoga's going to, listen, that yoga going to save your life. Tony already told. Look at it. Do you ever notice how the people who do yoga have this very calm aura? When Tony starts speaking, he was very, very grounded. It felt like namaste and chai tea. So but Tony, I mean, even meeting you back here, you have this presence, and I see how yoga shows up in your life.
Thank you, appreciate that.
So, but this question is, the question is then, how do you invest in yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually to stay this person you are? We already saw yours, Tony. We know how. The rest of you, how do you invest in yourselves physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually?
Well, first of all, for me, I start the day off with my wife with devotion. Every day.
You said devotion?
Devotion. Mm-hmm. Every day starts with devotion. So it's a certain scripture, it's a written devotion. We have a book that goes 365 days, and then you switch over to the next book when that one's finished. Secondly, you work out. We create a workout schedule. And the first thing you do in the morning after devotion, you spend some time meditating. You get at peace with your day, and then you start to understand what you're going to get accomplished that day, which is whatever's on her list.
Tell him again.
And then for that, you get your physical. But for me, the spiritual is so important because I'm a stage 4 cancer survivor. And the one thing you understand clearly is when you're going through that fight is how important he is. So from that standpoint, that's where right now everything is always level. You start the day off with a level set and then look forward to moving to whatever the challenges may be for that day. And for me, especially as a cancer survivor, you start with only dealing with the day.
Right.
You don't look at the next day or the next day. You look at getting through the day. And that's really changed my perspective to an extraordinarily positive outlook on life.
I love it. I love it. Alysha, you got something that you do to invest in yourself?
Yeah, so for me, and this is something that I had to learn because as athletes, you're so wired to always strive to be better, putting yourself, going for the next goal, and you miss out on being where your feet are. And so one of my favorite phrases and things that mantras, I guess you could say, is like, be where your feet are. And so whether I'm on the court and I'm feeling stressed, whether it's every day, I'm just like, I take a moment, I'm like, be where your feet are. And so as I've learned to be okay with that, I've also had to learn how to do things that I enjoy. Basketball is my job. I love it. I love the things that come with it, the physical part of it, that kind of is just wrapped all into it. But what I started to do was implement something that brings me joy once a week. And you would be surprised how hard that actually is. But now it's become, whether that's I'm gonna take an hour today and read from a book, or I'm gonna go for a walk, or I'm gonna cook a meal, or I'm gonna go hang with friends, or whatever it might be, but just something that brings me joy. And that comes with you having to sit down and make a list, like, what brings you joy? What makes you smile? What makes your heart happy? And I just implemented those at least once a week.
Love it, love it.
Ladies first.
So I start every day with keeping the main thing the main thing. I mentioned earlier that I'm a Buddhist, so I start with that by offering a prayer and having gratitude for the day. You talked about being a cancer survivor, so am I. So stage 3 cancer, and so I'm only bringing it up to say when I was diagnosed, I had no idea, and there's 4 stages, and so I was like, oh my goodness, I'm at 3, and here comes 4, and I have a child, right? So I always had humility and gratitude, but from that point on, I had a deeper appreciation for my day and what I was gonna do and how I was gonna give back. So I invest in my diet, I invest in knowing what I'm putting in my body, keeping the main thing, and not allowing anything. I have a colleague that says, don't let anything take you off your square, and that's what I do. I don't let anything make me waver because I know why I'm here.
Don't let anything take you off your square. Ooh, that's mine too. Last but not least, sir.
I think as athletes, we learn how to be able to be in the game, and we're on the go all the time. And then we have physical recovery, right? When we go to see a therapist or stuff like that. But then we lack on mental and emotional recovery, right? And so that's what I wanted to practice. I practice mental, emotional recovery, and that could be just how Alysha said, being with your friends, having your own time, meditate, and search for clarity. You know, I think we walk through life with some kind of confusion. That confusion can turn into stress because we don't have an answer for what we're looking for. So I think looking for clarity and practicing looking for clarity always is going to give you some kind of answer. It may come from a total stranger, it may come from a loved one, but the fact that you're working on being a better person in that way, it always will kind of de-stress you and be able to give you some kind of answer so you can be on your path still. So that's what I do.
I love it, I love it. We have 3 minutes left. I know I told you not to, Tony. Give us a way that you invest in yourself. I mean, seriously, I'm being funny. I was being funny, but seriously, because we want to be able to show up as our best selves every time, and it seems like you're on that path. What do you do outside of the yoga to invest in yourself?
You know, I think for me personally, because I live in Jersey City, so right outside of Manhattan, and obviously the city is so busy, but I have, I'm still single. I just wear this ring so people leave me alone. But I have 2, I do. Oh, see, same thing.
Time out. Now
Same
stop.
thing.
You're not, stop.
I promise.
Time
I promise.
out, Deacon.
Same thing.
Slow down, Deacon. Hold on.
No, but no, I have 2 dogs, and so I rescued a dog from Egypt, so he has 3 legs. He's a tripod, and then I have a husky, and so I spend time with my dogs. And so anytime, because you know, and Ed knows in our profession, like we do work with trauma and different things that's going on in our lives. But like we were saying, like sometimes you gotta just disconnect, and you have to. So for me, when I feel stress coming on or different things coming in my life, I just take my dogs outside. We'll go for a walk, go for a run. And good thing about dogs is like they have a unique ability just to kind of know how you're feeling on a day-to-day basis. And so I think they really balance me and they keep me going every day. Joe, you got to stop making those faces, man. Every time I say something, you always.
I mean, well, here's the thing. When Morris Chestnut's brother comes and sits on the stage, didn't he look? Ladies, don't he like Morris Chestnut, brother? And he up here talking about, I namaste and I wear this ring. Man,
no, actually I do. Actually, same thing. Why do you wear that ring?
So people don't approach me.
Same thing. Yep, leave me the heck alone.
Well, I want to add one last thing, and they asked, how do you invest in yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually? I want to add continuing to learn, continuing education, continuing to take on subjects. Like, seriously, I go and take courses simply because I want to know some new stuff. Thank you, Google, for being Google, because I continue to learn. Yeah, clap it up. I continue to learn about my world, I not only learn about, history and all those things, I can also learn about emerging technologies, how they can apply to my life, keeping up with my kids. I have kids who are 15 and 13, and they can run circles around me. So I continue to invest in learning and learning and learning and learning. I am all up on AI. I know large language models and small language models. I know what you want. See, people don't know the difference, Ed. I got the difference. But I just learned that on Friday at the other the other thing Google had here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the clock is counting down to 33 seconds. So could you do us a favor and please give this panel a round of applause for some incredible information. I hope that y'all used your pen and paper today to take down some of these practical things that everybody just gave us. What you guys said resounded with me because some of the things I practice in my life, some of the things were brand new, and I hope that you got something out of this, all right? Clap it up one more time for this panel and use your smart intelligence. And with that being said, thank you so very much.